Can you pretend to be my wife for 1 week? He begged the stranger to save his daughter's birthday. The rain hammered against the cafe window like 1,000 tiny fists, each drop echoing the desperation in Marcus Chen's heart as he sat across from a complete stranger, his voice breaking as he whispered words he never imagined he'd say. Please, I know this sounds insane, but can you pretend to be my wife for just 1 week? It's my daughter's 7th birthday, and I promised her that her mother would be there. The woman sitting opposite him, Elena Rodriguez, had only stopped to escape the storm, her coffee growing cold between her trembling hands as she stared at this broken man, who had approached her table with tears streaming down his face. And in that moment, surrounded by the quiet hum of afternoon customers and the relentless symphony of rain, two strangers stood at the precipice of a decision that would change everything they thought they knew about love, loss, and the extraordinary lengths a parent will go to protect their child's innocent heart. If this story has already touched your heart, imagine where it's headed next. Please hit that like button, drop a comment below sharing your thoughts, and subscribe to Kindness Pulse so you never miss stories that remind us of the beautiful humanity we all share. Now let's continue this journey together. Marcus hadn't slept properly in 3 months, not since the accident that had stolen his wife Sarah from their lives in a single, devastating moment of screeching tires and shattered glass on a rain-slicked highway. His daughter Lily had been sick with the flu that terrible night, and Sarah had gone out at midnight to get medicine, promising she'd be back before Lily even knew she was gone, but she never came home. And Marcus had been left to pick up the pieces of their shattered world while trying to shield his little girl from a truth too heavy for her small shoulders to bear. In his grief-stricken desperation, he had made a choice that haunted him with every passing day. He told Lily that Mommy had to go away for work, that she was helping people far away but would be back soon, and he watched as his daughter's eyes lit up with hope instead of drowning in sorrow, never realizing that his well-intentioned lie would become a prison from which he couldn't escape. Elena had her own ghosts that rainy afternoon, having just left a lawyer's office where she'd signed the final papers on her divorce, ending a 10-year marriage to a man who had slowly eroded her sense of self until she barely recognized the woman in the mirror. She had no children, a choice her ex-husband had held against her like a weapon, and as she sat in that cafe trying to process the strange emptiness of her new freedom, this desperate stranger had approached with a request so absurd, so completely insane that her first instinct was to call security. But something in Marcus's eyes stopped her, a raw, unfiltered agony that she recognized from her own reflection during the darkest days of her crumbling marriage. And when he began to explain about Lily, about the birthday party, about a little girl who still believed in a world where mothers kept their promises and love didn't end in tragedy, Elena felt something shift inside her chest. The first 2 days were awkward beyond measure, with Elena moving into the guest room of Marcus's modest suburban home, and both adults tiptoeing around each other like actors who hadn't rehearsed their lines. But everything shifted the moment Lily came home from school on the 3rd day and saw Mommy standing in the kitchen. The little girl's shriek of pure joy could have shattered crystal, and she launched herself into Elena's arms with such complete trust and unconditional love that Elena felt her carefully constructed emotional walls begin to crumble. And as she held this tiny stranger who smelled of strawberry shampoo and innocence, she understood with startling clarity that she wasn't just pretending for Lily's sake. She was healing something broken inside herself. Marcus watched from the doorway, his heart simultaneously breaking and mending as he saw his daughter's radiant smile, the first genuine happiness he'd witnessed since Sarah's death. The week unfolded like a dream wrapped in layers of bittersweet reality, with Elena helping Lily pick out a birthday dress, the two of them laughing over ice cream and nail polish while Marcus captured photos on his phone that he knew he'd treasure and mourn in equal measure. They planned the party together, Marcus and Elena working side by side in the kitchen late at night after Lily had fallen asleep, and in those quiet hours they began to share their stories. His grief over losing Sarah, her pain from years of feeling inadequate and unloved, and slowly, carefully, they built a bridge between two broken souls who had both forgotten what it felt like to be truly seen by another person. The birthday party was everything Lily had dreamed of, her squeals of delight echoing through their backyard as friends from school arrived, and the afternoon sun broke through the clouds like heaven's own spotlight, and Elena stood beside Marcus greeting parents and serving cake, And for those few perfect hours, they weren't pretending anymore. They were simply a family, imperfect and improvised, but real in all the ways that mattered. But as the last guest left and Lily collapsed into an exhausted, happy sleep, Marcus and Elena sat on the back porch in heavy silence, both acutely aware that their agreed-upon week was ending, that tomorrow Elena would return to her apartment and her life, and they would become nothing more than a strange, beautiful memory in each other's histories. Before we reach the end of this incredible journey, I want to ask you something from the heart. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that kindness and courage can create miracles in the most unexpected ways, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment about what touched you most, and subscribe to Kindness Pulse. Your support helps us share more stories that celebrate the beautiful resilience of the human spirit. 6 months later, Elena officially adopted Lily, and a year after that, Marcus and Elena stood before friends and family and spoke vows that felt like the most honest words they'd ever spoken, and Lily, now 8 years old, served as their flower girl. Her dress the same shade of pink she'd worn to that fateful birthday party. They never hid the truth from her. When she was old enough, they gently explained about Sarah, about the accident, about the week that changed everything. And Lily, wise beyond her years, simply hugged them both and said, "So Mommy Sarah sent me Mommy Elena because she knew I'd need her. And you did too, Daddy." The message that echoed through their unconventional family was one that Marcus hoped everyone could understand. That love isn't always a fairy tale written in the stars from the beginning. That sometimes it's a choice made by broken people who decide to be brave. That family isn't just about blood or traditional paths, but about showing up, even when you're terrified, even when it seems impossible, and choosing to love anyway. In a world that often feels too harsh and too cynical, where strangers remain strangers and everyone guards their hearts like fortresses, Marcus and Elena's story stood as a testament to the transformative power of taking a risk on compassion, of saying yes when every logical instinct screams no, of understanding that the most beautiful chapters of our lives often begin with someone else's desperate hope, and our courageous willingness to help write a better ending than either of us could have written alone.